Okay, so not to sound like narcissistic as fuck right now,
Oh god.
I need a full length mirror. And it's gotten to the point
Like a whole
where like
body mirror?
right, because
That
I don't
is
know. No, no, no. Listen to me. Listen to me. I have like two mirrors in my fucking house, and they're both in the bathrooms. And they're all both at countertop height. It's gotten so bad that the other day I took a step ladder, stepped on the step ladder so I could see at least my bottom half and how, because I was wearing some jeans. I'm like, dude, these look good.
Oh, I thought you were trying to look at your dick or something. Like just
No,
having
no.
a stance and looking at your dick.
Although that would be another option as well.
Yes.
But yeah, it's getting to the point where I'm like legitimately disturbed by it. And I'm now, when I'm in the office, I'm walking by like conference rooms or like collaboration rooms, and I'm just looking at the faint reflection. So I know
I do that too.
I look like. It's like I'm gonna forget what I look like. I'm gonna forget what I look. I'm like, I don't know what I look like anymore.
When I'm walking in the morning, I always stop at the door for a second, like a split second, and make sure that I don't look like shit. And I like fix myself up because it's like the only full body thing. Like that's not a real thing in houses. Like not a lot of people have the full 5 foot tall mirror.
Wicked smart, wicked cool, wicked fucking stupid, whatever the fuck. Something wicked.
I'm baking like a toasted teaser. It's so hot here.
My boy's wicked smart.
So the boy is hotter than hot. He's hot, hot.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
Kevin, I think I finally may have beat you. It's finally going to be like 1,000 degrees hotter here than it is in Arizona.
Yeah, and you guys have the humidity too, so it's like so much worse.
Oh, there needs to be the calculation so that way I could prove that I'm over here is finally hotter than in Arizona. Because when you're looking at 92 versus 117, like you can't really beat it. But
True, but there's a point when it hits like anything over 105 feels like the same.
very true. That is a good point. Very good point. Well, anyway, welcome guys back to another episode of Wicked Hot, Kevin and John. This week, did we post something on the Instagram? I can't even remember.
No, we didn't post anything.
We did not, because it was kind of up in the air. I was traveling in Canada, and so now we're back getting into it. And if we did post a picture, it would be that of barbecues and hot dogs and hamburgers, because this week we are doing patriotism, and not just American patriotism, but any patriotism. When you type in patriotic movies in Google, it's like only America. Like, I don't think that it's very hard to find other patriotic movies in other countries. Maybe just because we're not exposed to it as much, I would assume.
Probably, yeah.
But I was able to find something that wasn't just all America all the time.
Mine are all America.
Yours are all America.
Mine are
You didn't
all
pull
America.
any punch. All right. Well, I guess that is getting into the festive spirit for 4th of July. So grab your hot dogs, your hamburgers, your big old 50-ounce of soda, the most American things you could think of. Kick back and get into it in 3, 2, 1.
The 4th of July will no longer be known as an American holiday, but as the day when the world declared in one voice, we will not go quietly into the night. We will not vanish without a fight. We're going to live on. We're going to survive. Today, we celebrate our Independence Day.
All right, great. Amazing, inspiring speech. Bill Pullman, President Bill Pullman, everyone. So I'm going to start off with a movie that, honestly, most of mine are not very what you would think would be patriotic. But this one is, I think, falls under it because it deals strictly with killing the bad guys of history, which are Nazis, and it's Inglourious Bastards.
Ooh, all right.
Even though this movie has kind of like a mixed, different storylines and stuff. First of all, one of my favorite movies.
Not very historically accurate, though.
Not very historic, but the thing is, it's so patriotic because what movie actually has this machine gunning Hitler's face to where it looks like a rubber mask getting just like pummeled with bullet holes? That's this movie. So
That
if
was a better
anything,
ending than the real ending.
It is. Yeah. So Inglourious Bastards. I mean, it just shows like us, like the United States or the Allies in general,
Yeah.
just fucking kicking ass, and then I guess in the end winning, because even though like Hans Landa, who's like the main antagonist of the movie, kind of gets away with everything, he still gets the swastika carved into his forehead at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
So it just shows like no matter what happens, even though the Nazi kind of in a way won at the end, he still didn't, because America just kind of like said fuck you. And
Yeah. And I like the company that it follows in Inglourious Bastards, because it's like a very good representation of America, like the eclectic mix of, like the Bear Jew,
yeah,
Brad Pitt. Like it's very opposite ends of the spectrum, and that's what I like about the movie. And I understand like that's how America is. It's like a little subtle nod to the different personalities in America.
Yeah, because you got your city types like Bear Jews from Boston, obviously.
Yep.
Best. Fucking, I love the thing where he just knocks the guy senseless, and he's like, Teddy Williams hits it out of the park, Fenway Park goes on its feet for Teddy fucking ball game, all the way down Lansdowne Street, like, yeah, and then you got obviously Brad Pitt, Super Country, and it's just like a mix of everybody. It's hilarious, and it's the and even when you bring in like the other people, like the other German guys that now fight for the bastards, like the guy from Austria that was like the Austrian Jew, and then he's like, yeah, this guy he got the fuck out of Austria, and then he's like, he came back to give you guys what you deserve or whatever. So it's kind of like they already got all those immigrants from people that fled Europe during Nazi time, and then brought them back to just fucking kick ass, which is nice. I mean, one of the best movies, and I think it should fall under patriotism, because especially in today's time, we need to be reminded that America kills Nazis, and I mean, maybe not to that extent, but the brutality of it just shows that that's the thing that these fuckers deserve. And
exactly. It's like sometimes, especially nowadays, we kind of get away from how awesome we used to be, and killing some Nazis is like the most awesome part of being American.
Yeah, absolutely, and then carving it into their fucking forehead just to make sure that people know that you used to dabble in the. It makes it sound like they're dabbling in the dark arts, dabbling in the Nazi arts.
Yeah.
Good reminder, and a big like a fuck yeah America kind of thing.
Yeah. So mine is also a fuck yeah America kind of thing, and it's Zero Dark 30.
Oh, yeah.
And so this is obviously one of the most historical events in American history as of recently. It's definitely the most historical thing that's happened in my lifetime. And it's a movie that follows a CIA operative, and she is basically tracking Osama bin Laden in Pakistan, and we get a glimpse of finally how good Chris Pratt can act in this movie.
Is he even that much in the movie? Because
he's not really in it that much, but the scenes that he does have are very impactful. It's not like he's just kind of there in the background.
Because this is before Guardians, right?
It's before Guardians, but it's also during Parks and Rec. So
okay, yeah. So that gives him the chops for sure.
It does, yeah. So it's kind of funny because I was watching Parks and Rec when this was coming out, and I noticed for this movie he got fucking shredded for it.
Yeah.
So I love how they explain it in Parks and Rec, because he's kind of chunky in Parks and Rec, and then he comes back after the season and he's like fucking ripped. And they're like, "How did you lose all the weight?" And he's like, "Oh, I just quit drinking beer." But he's like fucking shredded. So like that's how they explain him being
So
shredded.
before we get into the rest of the movie, where were you during the announcement of spoilers? He dies.
Spoilers: Osama bin Laden dies. I was actually at a softball game, and I was sitting
At
in the
night?
dugout. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It
'Cause
was
I
like
remember it was
9 or
nighttime.
10. Yeah.
Yeah.
And somebody in the stands said they got Osama bin Laden, they killed him, and everyone just started like clapping and stuff. And I was like, "Fuck yeah!"
Yeah, dude, I know, I love that. That seems way better. I was in freshman year. No, yeah, something like that. I was in college, and I had gotten like the news, and like a bunch of my friends texted me about it. So I was just home, but then we ended up going out later that night, and I'm pretty sure like the DJ or whatever, like, Osama bin Laden's fucking dead, and everyone was just like, yeah, free drinks or whatever. Not really free drinks, but it was definitely a celebratory night. It was basically like a New Year's Day or Eve.
Yeah. And I'm glad the experience that I had, I'm glad I was with a bunch of people. Like, I knew my team, obviously, but there was a bunch of people there that I didn't know, and it was all kind of like a cohesive celebration with a bunch of strangers. And
Yeah.
it was cool. That's like an American thing to do, just like celebrate when some horrible motherfucker dies.
Yeah. Imagine you were like a ballpark or something, like a real, like a stadium,
Oh yeah.
and someone just announces, "Oh, Osama bin Laden is fucking dead," and then it just spreads, and it's just this huge celebration.
Yeah. I could even see
God.
that being in like Fenway or something.
Oh, that's exactly what I was imagining.
Yeah.
I could see some bro being like, "Osama bin Laden's fucking dead," or something like that, and yeah, place erupts. Yeah. So I'm sorry, I just wanted to know because since that's like a pretty recent
It is.
historical moment, I just wanted to know. It's like saying like, where were you for like on? I feel like most people ask that for like somber moments, like 9/11.
Yeah. I
Pearl
think
Harbor,
9/11
if
is
you-
like number one. Like that's
Yeah.
the number one thing. It's never something like really cool. It's never like a cool thing.
Yeah, we're gonna make that now. I'm instead of asking people because that's a normal topic of conversation.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, so where were you during 9/11? Like that's from now on. I'm gonna be like, where were you when Osama bin Laden fucking died?
Yeah, because that's what we really need to take away from this is that motherfucker is dead.
Yep.
So the movie follows this SEAL Team 6 around, and this is like the first time that the general public realized how badass SEAL Team 6 was. Because I feel like
Yeah, I don't
before
think
this,
people-
nobody knew what it was.
Oh no. After
No
this,
civilian.
it was like all SEAL movies, like everything SEALs, everything SEALs.
Yeah, so after this, you had like Act of Valor and Zero Dark 30. You had a bunch of SEAL themed movies.
Yeah.
All stemming from this one event from the SEAL Team 6. And then you had the stealth helicopters from Area 51. And then you have like the best part of the whole movie, them like discovering that it was Osama bin Laden, because they don't know at first. They take the
Dude,
body.
That movie is intense.
It is, because they
Intense.
take the body there. They think it's him. They're not sure, and then I think they identify him on the boat, and that's when the whole thing, especially the Jessica Chastain, the CIA agent, is like so relieved that it's finally over after her working for like 8 or 7 years on this whole project.
Yeah.
Just a great movie. Great
Oh,
movie.
it's
Great
it is.
story. Very American.
It is so American, and if people haven't seen it, it's like wicked tense. Like most of that's basically the end part is when they're going to go get him.
Yeah.
But a lot of stuff goes wrong on the way, and then when they're actually trying to kill him, like the helicopter going down,
Yeah. The
And-
helicopter crashing.
which I feel like stealth helicopter is like an oxymoron. Like, how do you
Yeah.
not hear that, right?
Yeah, because even in the movie, you could hear the helicopter.
Oh, it's like a
So-
helicopter sound.
Yeah, they haven't made the technology to make it silent yet. So maybe when they say stealth helicopter, it's just like radar stealth. Like it doesn't
Maybe,
appear
yeah.
on radar, but it's still loud.
But when
as
they
fuck.
landed, it seemed like everyone was still sound asleep. I feel like I
That is
wake up
true.
when a helicopter is like 1,000 feet above me.
That is true. So yeah, maybe they did find a way to silence it a little bit, but I do remember it being still pretty loud.
Yeah, I guess there's nothing really more American than SEAL Team 6 at this point.
Yeah,
Except perhaps for maybe another team. And I'm talking about the 1980 Winter Olympics Team USA hockey champions.
fuck yeah.
From my movie, well, not my movie. I mean, it doesn't belong to me, but from Miracle, which is, I feel like this is a two-part thing because it's one, an amazing sports movie, and two, an amazing, well, really just three. There's three things. One, it's an amazing sports movie. Two, it's an amazing movie. And three, it's an amazing like America patriotic movie.
And it's another thing. It's also an amazing underdog story.
It is an amazing, which I feel like is the story of America, though.
True, very true.
So yeah, if anyone's never seen Miracle, watch it. I think it'll you don't have to be a sports fan to watch it. It's just a good movie, and I know I've said this to you before, Kevin. Sports movies gets me so hyped for sports.
Yeah.
Like I wish it was real, like this, like real life. But yeah, so Miracle, obviously, like it's super underdog. The United States Olympic team is going to be facing off against the team from the Soviet Union hockey team, which are like they're like the elite of the elite, like fucking unstoppable.
Yeah.
Which ironically today it's Canada. Like Russia,
That is
I feel
funny.
like isn't even in it or at all anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they are.
Yeah, Russia back then in hockey is like the Patriots of the 2000s.
Yeah, they
Like,
would
they're
win
pretty much unbeatable.
Yeah, I think they've won like every Olympics until that point, right?
In hockey, yeah.
Or almost every Olympics. So basically, all these kids are all like college age. They're in college, like hockey players. I know like most of them are from like a lot of them are like from Boston University and like the big like the typical schools that are in like the Frozen Four.
That was
And-
before they used NHL players.
Right. Yeah, that's all college.
So, yeah, it's all college.
Were the Russians college age too, or were
No, I think the Russians were all pro, but not
like
in
pro
America.
Russia?
Yeah.
Yeah, pro. Yeah. Yeah. So, I specifically want to point out the scene with Kurt Russell. Kurt Russell's so good as Herb Brooks, the coach of the team, and the speech before the biggest game, like the game. Everyone's in there. They know it's basically impossible to beat the Soviet Union. I mean, they grew a lot from like when they. This is what makes this movie so American. It's like we have training montages. We have
Yep.
like them. It's the stereotypical like everyone gets together. No one really gets along. No one fluidly plays. Everyone plays for themselves and not as a team.
Yeah.
And he says that awesome line where he's like, the name that matters on that jersey is not the one on the back. It's the one on the front.
Yeah.
And he basically gets everyone together. And this is when they're a cohesive unit. But even then, there's like no hope against the Soviet Union. So he comes in there and he's like, you were born for this. Like, there's always a great opportunity. He's like, we may not win. He's like, if there's 10 games, we'll win 9. He's like, but this is that one chance for us to like basically change history. And they do. And it's awesome. And the entire last hockey sequence of the movie is, again, I'll say it. It's like a nail biter. I'm like, I wish this is how it was. Like we get to see how the players feel, how the coach is feeling. Like basically like those small little stories, those small little narratives and it's executed so well. And what's more American, I guess it probably even relates to now, because I mean Russia's kind of like our enemy again,
Right.
so what's more American than US versus Soviet Union, US versus Russia?
Yes. This is, first of all, I've seen this movie 3 times in theaters. I fucking love this movie. It's one of my favorite sports movies. And it was actually on my list to do today.
I know.
First of all, Kurt Russell's speech in the movie is literally one of the best uplifting speeches in a movie, like probably ever, like probably top 10 speeches.
Yeah,
it's like Bill Pullman's speech, Kurt Russell's speech, like those two are like tied.
Yeah.
I love this movie, and the fact that it's like a true underdog story. It's like the Mighty Ducks playing the fucking Red Wings or something. Like that's the level of like amateurish to
the
pro
stakes,
that they're playing.
Stakes.
Like, so the fact that they win in the end, and that's not even the gold medal match. That's just the semifinals.
Yeah.
It's funny that they made an entire movie. I mean, I understand it just about the semifinals game.
Well,
and
because
don't really
they
even show the finals.
No, well, they win the final though, don't they?
They do, yeah. They do win the gold.
But it's more of the fact that the Russians always beat them every year. Like,
yeah.
Well, not every year, but every like face off. I don't know what's the term here.
Basically, every time they meet, well, Russia beats pretty much everybody because they win the Olympics. Almost, it's like the Patriots winning the Super Bowls. Like pretty much every Super Bowl in the early 2000s is the Patriots, and
right.
I feel like that's how it was with Russia and hockey, national hockey, in the 80s or the 70s.
Okay, so just to kind of give people perspective, they've won gold like fucking from 1954, 1956, 1963 to 1975. So from 1963 to 1975, this is all like ice hockey championships, not Olympics. But for Olympics, they've won literally every meeting until 1980, and then they won again in 84 and 88. So
Damn.
I guess
so the one-off time that they lost was this this movie.
Yeah, because they won 56. Well, I guess they didn't win it in 60, but they won 56, 64, 68, 72, 76, 84, 88.
Damn.
That's fucking elite.
That's
and then even in 60,
right
they still won bronze. So they've always won a medal at each Olympics up till 1988.
What did they win in 80? Was it bronze or
silver?
Oh, okay.
So they beat Canada. Okay, so it's based on like basically like.
So it wasn't a bracket; it was just win-loss thing.
Okay.
Damn, I don't think they do that way now.
No, they don't.
I'm pretty sure it's a bracket.
Yeah, in case anyone was wondering, we had to take like a 5-minute break to figure out the ice hockey bracket.
So United States played Soviet Union and beat them. Finland tied Sweden. U.S. beat Finland, and Soviet Union beat Sweden. So that's how it got.
Right.
That's how they got silver.
Right. So the final or second to last game was.
Yeah. So it technically wasn't a final. It was just happened to be the last game of the Olympics.
Correct. But I don't think even if Soviet Union beat anyone and then the United States lost to Finland, that they would have.
Yeah, I think it depends on how bad they would have lost. So I think U.S. would have had to have lost by 2 to get silver. And Soviet Union would have had to win by at least 2.
All right. Well, clearly they didn't get into like the specifics on how they.
Yeah, that's definitely not a miracle.
It was not. So the movie wasn't about winning the gold. It was about beating Russia.
Exactly.
It was like the Cold War, but this is how we're battling it out, which is via hockey, like real men. Like I don't think there's anything that could really top this, because it is a miracle. I mean, it's literally. Like you said, Mighty Ducks against the Red Wings.
Yeah. And it's just like it's so American in a sense where it's like fuck everything else, fuck the gold medal. We're gonna beat those goddamn Russians, and like that's the end of the story.
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Like we don't care about what happens later.
Yeah, exactly.
I know, because that's funny. Because I seriously thought that was for the final. That was for the gold or the trophy or whatever.
I thought it was. Yeah, I thought it. First of all, I thought it was a bracket. So now I'm completely confused on how the games were played and how how it lined up.
Now I'm wondering, is it a bracket in the current Olympics? Because like that's what I'm more confused about.
I'm pretty sure there is, because I know in basketball, and I'm pretty sure they're all run the same nowadays, where it's like there's group rounds, and then it goes into a bracket. Like once you win your group,
Right, it's like a qualifier or whatever.
right? Kind of like how the World Cup is.
Right. Which, by the way, I still don't know what's going on with that.
Yeah,
Is that still going on? Is the World Cup?
it
still
is.
going on?
Yeah, I can't get into it, especially since America isn't in it. So I'm like, I have nothing to root for.
Yeah, there's literally no point at that anymore.
So my next movie takes place 1 year before your movie.
Oh, interesting.
And again, another great movie, and it's Argo Fuck Yourself. Argo.
Yeah, that is a great movie.
It's
that
a great
is
movie.
Fuck, that's patriotic. Yeah, you're right.
It is, yeah. So
For Canada.
for Canada and the US,
Yeah.
isn't it like not? Doesn't it not come out for a long time that Canada helped them?
Yeah, it doesn't
Like
come out
years.
to like 2000, I think, or something like
Yeah.
that.
So it's an American patriotic movie, and then in the 2000s it turns into a Canada patriotic movie. So it basically follows the CIA agents during the hostage crisis in Iran in 1979, and they're trying to get 6 Americans out of Tehran.
Well, they're not in the embassy. Those people made it out
yeah,
of the embassy.
yes,
These people weren't in, like, because they weren't working at the time, I think is what it was.
yeah. They
Right.
escaped through like a tunnel passage.
Yeah, and they were staying with the ambassador of Canada.
Right.
That's how it was. Yeah.
Right. So, yeah, they're staying with the ambassador of Canada, and that's kind of where Canada has a big part in this film, because they're like, he basically saved their lives.
Yeah, I mean, for sure.
But also by risking his own, because they come to his door during the movie and asking about where the Americans are,
Right.
and he has them hidden, basically. So, it kind of follows Ben Affleck as a CIA agent, and they're kind of coming up with this plan to like go undercover as a fake Hollywood production team as they're like
Yes.
scouting locations for a movie that they're making, which is
Like a Star Wars knockoff.
right. So they're like having these CIA agents like train as trying to pass as like a Hollywood producer or like a location scout, all this shit.
Yeah.
And such a fucking tense scene when they get into Iran, and it's like getting them out and on the plane, and the truck
plane,
is chasing
God
them.
damn it.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy because they finally make it through security. They get on the plane, and like shortly after that, they find out, and it's too late.
Yeah.
They're already in the air.
Yeah.
I don't think that's how the original story actually happened. Like apparently, they had no
Like
problems getting out.
Okay, I was gonna say it wasn't like to the wire,
No, like
but
they
that
got
that
through-
intensifies. You know, I'm like, oh god, are they gonna get away?
Yeah, but we're talking movies here, so I'm talking about the movie, not the real story.
Right.
And such a tense scene, and they finally get out, and I mean that's pretty much the end up until it like flashes forward until Canada is finally recognized as being like 50% partner in actually getting them out.
Which isn't a lie, but I think wasn't it like they said like Canada was behind the whole operation, like the United
Pretty
States
much
had
because
nothing?
they went undercover as Canadians.
Yes.
So they had to get all these Canadian documents,
Passports
passports. They had to have, I think they had to have a flight manifest from Canada to Tehran.
If there's one like moral of this specific story. It's like just be Canadian and have a Canadian passport because you basically can go like to any country and be okay.
Exactly. You can look American as fuck, but also do anything you want because nobody hates you.
It's honestly the craziest thing. It's like the Canada passport is like a get out of jail free card
Yeah.
in physical form, like in the real world.
Exactly. Especially if you're going to some shady countries.
Yeah, no,
'Cause it's-
shady countries you're fine because if you're Canadian, it's fine.
Yeah, it's the only time where you can look American and like just get out of everything because it's like nobody hates you. You're Canadian.
I would just have the Canada passport like in like a frocket, so it's like peeking out from the top.
Yeah, you just see like the top of the leaf, the flag.
Yeah,
part. Yeah.
yeah. Or just get. You know what you could do? You could pretend being Canadian, just get like a Canada patch, and throw it on like your backpack if you're like traveling
Yeah.
abroad.
Honestly,
Could
if
do
nobody asks to see your passport, just say that you're Canadian.
Yeah,
Because like even in like Germany, England, like those people hate Americans. They think they're stupid. They think that they're tourist motherfuckers. And you can just be like, I'm Canadian. And they're like, okay, yeah.
yeah. Unfortunately, I couldn't do that in Canada.
True.
It's like I'm like
That's
no,
the one
I'm-
country you can't do that.
Although I guess it shouldn't matter because they love everyone, right? So
True.
not so bad. So going from Canada, I'm gonna go over to England, and this is my literally one and only non-American patriotic movie, and also it's wicked hot, so we cannot talk about Christopher Nolan. And my next patriotic movie is Dunkirk.
Okay.
Have you seen Dunkirk?
I have seen bits and pieces.
Okay. So you haven't seen the whole movie?
No.
How'd you see it in bits and pieces?
I
clips
came
or-
in when Kathy was watching it. I watched like 20 minutes of it, and then I came in when my parents were watching it, and I saw like a different 20 or 30 minutes of it.
Okay. Did you like what you saw or?
I liked what I saw, yes.
Okay. All right. Well, so people that don't know, this is not like a war movie as far as like there's a battle. It's literally starts, and again, it's kind of an underdog story that still ends with an underdog tone, I guess. Really, it's just, again, I mean, it's against Nazis, so it's like a world patriotic movie.
Right.
But it specifically focuses on the evacuation at Dunkirk, which involves like hundreds of thousands of British and French troops that are surrounded by the German army. And the beginning of the movie, it basically makes it seem like there is zero hope. They are surrounded, and they're kind of just sitting on this beach waiting to be evacuated. Now, the movie isn't as tense as I would have liked it to be. There were tense moments, but overall, and this is why I threw it under patriotism, is the movie, it gets different points of view from different people involved in that. So you have like the commanding officers, you have normal soldiers that are just trying to stay alive and get away. And then you have civilians that are coming. And this is why I wanted to put patriotism in it, because civilians came from across the channel to come help and evacuate all these people like on their boat and boats and whatnot. And I think that's what it's like. Normal civilians that aren't in combat are coming to help. Plus, these guys are finally getting away, escaping in the end. And then there's the whole dynamic of like, there's, aircraft backup from these British planes that are basically doing like a dogfight against the German planes that are trying to kill people that are stranded on the beach at the moment. So the best part of this, I mean, the movie's great. Sound design's awesome. If you haven't watched it, I would recommend it. Don't go. It's more of like just beautiful to look at. And it just tells the story from visuals. There's not a lot of dialogue, but you kind of understand what's happening. I don't know if that makes sense.
That does make sense. It's a very visual movie.
Yes.
It's kind of like Saving Private Ryan visual. Like it's a very artistically like perfect.
Yeah, I mean it's Christopher Nolan, so
Yeah.
what would you expect? Um, so at the end of the movie, this is basically like, and there's like a spirit of hope, and this is why I say it's still underdog and feels underdog even at like the end of the movie, is because even though they got everyone out, they got all the British people out, but like they still wanted to get the French out, and they hadn't yet. And I don't think they do. I don't think they successfully do. But at the end of the movie, there's this German plane that's literally going to kill like a couple people or whatever, and Tom Hardy comes out of nowhere and blows it the fuck up, and then he's basically like out of fuel, and he just has to like glide to land. And at the entire time this is happening, the British troops are back in England. They're on a train, and one of the soldiers is reading an excerpt from the speech that Winston Churchill gives, and it gets you hyped the fuck up, because Winston Churchill says like, yeah, this moment, like it seems like everything is lost, but if the Germans come across, he's like, we'll fight, we'll keep fighting, we'll fight in the towns, we'll fight on the farms, we'll fight on the beaches. He's like, we'll until literally there's no one left. He's like, we won't let them take our home or whatever. And it's basically like that, with Tom Hardy just kind of getting captured or whatever by Germans, but like the whole feeling of just like, no matter what's going to happen, even though all this bad shit happens, like we're still going to be in it. We're still going to fight to the very end. And again, this is like not even like British patriotism. It's just like world patriotism. Like,
Yeah.
the
Allied
Allies against the Nazis.
Yeah.
No matter what happens, we're going to give it all we can to make sure that this horrific way of living and rule does not come across into our shores and to basically spread across the world like
Yeah.
Wolfenstein or Man in the High Castle or whatever.
Yeah.
So that entire part, the sound design, the Hans Zimmer score, fuck,
Of course.
and just like the overlay of like what's happening with him talking, and the way the movie ends, it just shows like a plane burning and then it goes to black. And I don't know, it's like, even though that all seems to have been lost, like the words that this guy's saying, it's like it's not. And obviously, as history shows, it wasn't, because in the end, Allies won World War II. But it's just one of those things that just gets you hyped up, and like the way everyone works together to save a bunch of people is one of the most patriotic things, I think.
Yeah, definitely, especially when you get the Winston Churchill quote speech. So
Yeah.
he's a fucking wordsmith. Like, he knows how to hype people up, and yeah, that's not only is it British pride, but it's also Ally pride.
Yeah.
Like, all around success for the whole world,
Yes.
except for Germany.
Except for Germany. Although ironically, I guess except for America too, because we weren't even in the war at this point yet. We were
True.
literally just chilling. We were chilling.
Yeah. So my next movie is a little different. There's no like flat out like here's the patriotism in the movie, but it's just like this is like an American gym. I'm talking about Forrest Gump.
Okay.
So Forrest Gump,
No, there's
definitely
I
some
can see it.
patriotism with the Vietnam War and all that stuff, like him fighting and coming back and giving a horrible speech that gets cut out. But just the fact that he's like involved throughout the movie in all of these very historic American events,
Right.
like obviously Vietnam, Watergate, he meets President Kennedy, he becomes like a national ping pong treasure, and eventually becomes like a fucking CEO of a giant company.
Yeah, I guess that's the American dream, right?
It is. It really is.
He lives everyone's American dream,
He
except
really
for the
does.
part that he's like mentally ill
Yeah. So he has an IQ of 75. So
or slow, rather.
yes. So the movie basically follows this mentally slow person, Forrest Gump, around as he kind of like falls into these historic situations. Like, he's never purposely in anything.
I know, it's great. He's the guy. If you ask where were you, he was like, oh, I was actually like there.
Yeah, it's like, where were you during 9/11? He's like, I was
in
on
the towers.
on the 3rd floor.
Yeah, I saved everyone.
Yeah. First of all, it's a great movie. We've talked about it before. We talked about the sequel that was supposed to happen.
Wasn't the sequel during 9/11?
No, it was
Oh no, what happened is it took place on 9/11.
Oh yeah, it got
that.
Yes.
That,
It does have something to do with 9/11. Yes.
Right. 9/11 basically caused this movie to not happen.
So if you go back and listen to our very first episode, we talk about how Forrest Gump 2 never happened.
Yep.
And the ridiculous circumstances behind that, and 9/11 causing the downfall of Forrest Gump 2, the movie.
Yeah. Amongst other things, yes.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just a great movie. He's ingrained in all of these historical American events, and he has a story to tell about every one of them, like from his own perspective that we haven't seen yet. And I don't know, it's just a great theory to have this random guy in all of these things, because we get the different perspective, and that's what I love about the movie. And that's, I think, what makes it patriotic, is we get to learn a little bit more about all of these events.
Yeah, it's like you see every great moment that, and not so great moment that normal Americans would have gone through.
Yep.
And you kind of get to see it through the eyes of, not a normal, but like, but through it like a person's eyes, like not from what like a news report would say, or not from like what the government would tell you how it went. It was like from an eyewitness who's basically like the least biased person ever. Like, he has no ties to anything.
He basically has no opinion.
Right, which kind of, I guess, in a way makes him the most normal, because it's like an unfiltered view of it.
Yeah, exactly.
So you can basically kind of take what he sees and take that and kind of give it your own like thoughts on it, right? It's not like he gives you something, gives his thoughts on it, and he does give his thoughts on it, but at the same time, it's like
it's not overly biased about anything.
Right.
And his thoughts are usually very simple and not.
But they're like, right? No, totally. They're simple in the fact that it's like common sense shit, like.
Right,
like
it's something you would already
is
come
bad,
to yourself.
Right? It's not like like no one out there thinks, unless you're a psychopath, that war is good, or that like these awful things happening to people is good. But at the same time, he's not like bashing your head over about it. He's just like, this is kind of what happened. These are my like small like little like notes. But for the most part, it's just like, oh shit, he was there for during like Nixon giving him a Medal of Honor. He was there for when Alabama won the championship. It's like he was there for like all the kids getting into, the Little Rock Nine, like during like, segregation times and stuff. So yeah, I mean, I'm 100% behind you on this. It's about his American, because if anything, he is alive and exists during probably like the most quote unquote like American time.
Yeah.
From like the 50s through like 60s, 70s, 80s, where like a lot of shit was happening,
Yeah. Definitely one of the most influential parts of American history is like the time that he was alive.
Right.
So yeah, like the fact that we get to see a personal perspective of all of these events, it's kind of cool to not have, especially to not have somebody telling you how you need to feel about something, and it's just like, oh, here's what happened, form your own opinion. And that's kind of where it leaves you, and it's like it's a cool story,
right? Because it's like he's a white guy, right?
Yeah,
but he's like an autistic white guy,
right?
So it's not like he has the benefits of being like a white man, But like because he's like in his own little section. Because I feel like with that movie, you can't really be like, oh yeah, this is how it was, and it was great. It's like, well, yeah, because you're a white guy. or this is how it was. It was terrible. It's like, well, no shit, because you're a black person in that time.
Yeah.
It was like he gave basically everyone's perspectives in a sense. Like he was a part of all. He was like a watcher. He was literally a watcher.
Yeah.
That had there was no benefits for him. Like he had everything was against him, and like he kind of had like that coming of age and like American dream kind of story, and then he also kind of got to see other people's stories coming together, which it's a great movie. I feel like not some people don't like it though.
I don't know how you don't like this movie. Like the story is, we've established the story is amazing, but the acting from Tom Hanks is just insanely good.
Yeah, the acting from everyone is insanely good, and it's like a wicked sad movie too.
It is. It really, and I'm glad we never got the sequel because it would have ruined the entire first movie.
It would have. It 100% would have. So my last movie deals with, again, I feel like this is synonymous with patriotism. It's just the overcoming great odds kind of movie. And this one is probably a little lesser known to most people, so I'll definitely break this one down a little bit more. And the movie is Unbroken, which is directed by Angelina Jolie, actually. And it is about Louis Zamperini, or Zampa something. Yeah, so the guy's name is Louis Zamperini, and he's basically kind of like the all-American kind of guy. He competed in cross country in the Olympics in the 1936 Olympics. So the movie kind of goes with like him growing up as a kid, being like a cross country runner. He gets into the Olympics in Nazi Germany, and he's, doing his thing. And then the war breaks out, and he joins the U.S. Army Air Corps, I believe, or was it the Navy? Army Air Corps. And he flies bombers, and he basically like tracks, like he basically like sets up to like bomb like things, and he is in the Pacific theater of World War II. Long story short, the plane runs out of fuel because it's attacked, and like the fuel kind of runs out. They crash in the middle of the ocean, which, as you know, crashing in the middle of the ocean usually is a death sentence,
Yes.
especially back then.
Yes.
So most of the crew dies, and it's just him and two other guys on like a raft, basically. And they're attacked by sharks. They're attacked by another plane that sees them and just shoots at them.
Fuck, worst case scenario.
Yeah, and finally they're captured by the Japanese. So they think that a ship is there to save them, and it ends up being the Japanese. So they're taken to an island and basically tortured for a while. And then he's taken to basically like a factory, like a work, like something in like a labor camp in Japan. And there is like basically like a Nazi version of like a Japanese like camp director. And he kind of has it out for him because he knows that he's famous. He knows that he was in the Olympics. He recognizes him, and so he basically makes him like an example.
How the fuck does he recognize him? If you showed me an Olympian from this last Olympics, I wouldn't recognize anybody.
I have no idea, but I guess he was a very avid Olympic
Yeah.
viewer.
He was an Olympic enthusiast.
Yes, he was following all the storylines for each country. And he's like, oh, shit, you're Louis Zamperini. Well, fuck you, buddy. So he kind of makes him an example. And the guy, I mean, he's tortured. He's in the middle of the ocean, watches his friends die, gets taken to a labor camp, and basically is never really broken. And he survives all the way to the end of the war. And the best part of this is that he returned for, I forget what Olympics it was, but
Nagano.
it was it was the Summer Olympics in Japan.
No, it was the Winter Olympics.
Winter Olympics? Okay.
Winter Olympics in Nagano, yeah.
Okay. So he comes back for the Winter Olympics, and he's like, I forgive, like the people of this country. And I remember at the end of the movie, and I don't know if this is true or not, but at the end of the movie, it had like text or whatever. It's because the camp director, unfortunately, basically doesn't get arrested for war crimes or anything and gets away with everything. But he refused to meet Zamperini because he's like, look, I just want to see you, and I want to like forgive you for what you did to me. So, which is fucking unreal that you would basically want to do that for someone that tortured your ass and had zero remorse. And
also zero repercussions.
Yeah.
For it, like, oh, you got away with everything, but I want to forgive you. Like, no, fuck you. You already won. You got away with everything.
Seriously. But yeah, the movie's really great. I would suggest to watch. The book was better. I know I'm going to be one of those people. But either way, guys, like embodiment of an American hero.
Yep.
I will say, if people do watch this, make sure you watch Unbroken and not Unbroken Path to Redemption, which apparently is a fake sequel about him finding God or something. I don't know. I mean, if that's your jam, I guess you could watch it. But Unbroken and it doesn't even have the same main characters. So
yeah, it's it's like a straight to VHS.
It's always straight to VHS. It's never straight to DVD.
Yeah, not even DVD, not Blu-ray.
Straight to VHS sequel. But yeah, so Unbroken. That's my last one. That's the most American I think we can get, is celebrating a hero.
Right.
And of course military, because people love that shit.
Because America, fuck yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
So my last one is, you already heard it in the intro clip. It's Independence Day, and again, that's not just an American movie. It's world
human.
Yes,
a human patriotism.
Because we all come together at the end to fuck the aliens up. The movie in itself, like, you got the Top Gun aspect of it with Will Smith and Harry Connick Jr. and the hilarious
Harry
scene.
Connick Jr.'s in this movie?
Yeah, he's like Will Smith's best friend.
No.
Yeah.
You want to know what's crazy? Is this movie is like rated terribly.
I don't know why, because it's a really good movie, especially for like being a mid-90s movie. It still holds up pretty well.
Yeah, and we got great Will Smith stuff.
Yeah. What did we have?
A lot of great.
That? Was there any Will Smith stuff before that? I don't think there was.
No, because I think Men in Black was after this, 97.
So this was during Fresh Prince. This was like right after Fresh Prince, like immediately after it ended.
This was like him blowing up. This was the Will Smith years.
The Will Smith heyday, yeah. Yeah, I mean, a great movie. You have the Top Gun aspect, you have the nerdy aspect, you have the Jeff Goldblum, which I know you're a big fan of.
Oh, I'm a big fan. I'm such a big fan. You know this.
And we're not coming together to fight any Nazis or anything. It's just going to the top. The fucking alien race that wants to kill everybody. The world comes together. They figure out how to destroy them. You get the fucking Bill Pullman speech that's like the best fucking speech ever.
The best President Bill Pullman.
Yes.
You get Randy Quaid.
Man.
Which is always a treat.
I fucking love Randy Quaid. I just watched Vegas Vacation, and my favorite part of the movie is Randy Quaid.
The best part is he's nothing like Dennis Quaid.
I know.
Dennis Quaid seems like really serious and kind of an asshole. Randy Quaid seems like he's consistently on drugs and just wants to have a good time.
I think
which
that's
is good or
he
bad.
Is. I think that's because he is.
Didn't he die from an overdose?
Randy Quaid? No, I don't think he did.
No? Okay. He's dead, though.
Is he?
I'm pretty sure he is.
I don't think he's dead.
I feel like Randy Quaid may have just played himself and like in everything, because if you like, he's basically his character in Vegas Vacation, which may be his real life self.
Yeah.
Because he lived in that weird trailer with those weird kids.
His
Those kids
weird-
always were weird to me.
his weird
right?
kids. They
His
always
kids were
had
so
something
strange.
off about them, like they were maybe a product of incest or something.
Incest, yeah, that's what I was thinking. And they also were in incestual relations with each other.
Yes.
The dark side of Independence Day. No, I'll agree with you though. I mean, aside from that, I mean, the movie's awesome, and it's literally just like fuck you to aliens, like welcome to Earth.
Yeah. I was just gonna say that. I fucking love that scene. And it's a world patriotic event when Will Smith punches the alien in the face and says, "Welcome to Earth."
Yeah,
This is like, he's like, this is how we roll.
It's
This
it's
is how
so
we roll,
American.
motherfucker.
Yeah, it is great. Yeah. So, I guess closing things up, Kevin, I have one last question for you. What is your prime? Well, what would be your prime like 4th of July celebration
Okay.
location? Lake, backyard, or beach?
Definitely lake.
Right?
Definitely lake. Beach sucks.
Fuck the beach. Well, you and I are not beach people.
I'm
I was
not a
gonna
beach
throw
person.
pool in there, but I feel like pool can be lumped into backyard.
That's definitely
if you have a backyard with a pool. If not, then I guess I could throw in backyard with a pool.
Okay. Yeah, we'll throw that into the Twitter
Okay.
poll. So backyard with a pool or lake.
So why lake then?
Because it's like the beach except no people and no sand. The best
I know,
of
I hate sand.
the best of all the worlds.
It's rough and coarse and irritating. It gets everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. That fucking scene.
What?
In fucking the Star Wars prequel.
I'm so glad you caught that. Yeah, I would go with lake too, because I feel this is how I imagine it's like lake, sunset, just drinking a couple like beers, chilling on like lawn chairs. Hopefully, it's not hot. That's the one thing.
Yeah,
It
that's
comes
my
back
one
to
worry.
temperature. Hot or like mosquitoes and stuff. So we gotta have like a lot of citronella lamps and torches.
Not
to
tiki
keep-
torches.
to-
Not
to-
tiki torches.
Not tiki torches. Not tiki torches. Citronella, like like the little torches, like you put them in, and the smell makes the bugs go away. Or preferably, there's no bugs out at all.
Yeah, that's ideal.
But in July in a lake, that's very unlikely.
True. I feel bad for the people that manufacture tiki torches because like they're fucking screwed.
Oh yeah,
And
100%.
as a white person, if I ever wanted a tiki torch for whatever reason, I can't.
you can never
ever
buy it.
one.
You can't ever buy it. Never.
Yeah.
I'm not even white, and I feel like I could never buy them. Not that I would. I mean, that'd be suspicious for me because I live in an apartment. Like, where am I going to put that?
That's definitely you're going out with a
To a
group
rally.
of people. Yeah.
I wonder why tiki torches. Like, why not normal? I guess they're
think-
easy to light.
I think it's because they sell them at Walmart and they were cheap.
Right. It's
So
not
now
like
it's
they
like,
chose-
these are our torches.
Official-
our
official
official
torches.
torches, and now it's like the tiki torch.
I'm gonna get like one of the like old school torches where I have to like wrap like cloth and linen around,
Yeah.
like linen wraps, and light that and walk around with it.
That's the torch that I want. A fucking tree branch with some cloth on it and
like some
tallow.
oil.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The only reason I know that is from 7 Days to Die.
7 Days to Die. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's the torch I want to. Why don't they make those torches anymore? That's what they're gonna have to start manufacturing those to replace the tiki ones.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to put those in my fucking backyard if I want a tropical theme instead of tiki torches because I can't
Yeah.
buy tiki torches.
All right, cool guys. Well, thanks for sticking around. Let us know what your favorite 4th of July location is and where you're going to be celebrating. Honestly, there's no better place to celebrate 4th of July than in arguably the birthplace of America, which is here in Boston.
I will agree with that because Arizona fucking sucks. First of all, it's too hot. Fire danger everywhere, so they constantly cancel the fireworks shows.
Oh, really?
It's some
We
bullshit.
Fireworks are illegal here, so they have like legitimate professional fireworks that they shoot off, which is awesome because it's like being like at Disney World or amusement park or whatever and having legit fireworks. So yeah, guys, let us know what you think of the episode, and we will be, I guess we can announce this now that it is in stone. We will be having a special episode with a collaboration with another podcast, which is The Final Boys.
Yeah.
For a special Friday the 13th episode themed. Yeah, Friday the 13th, like horror themed episode with them.
Yep.
So yeah,
And it'll
we're
come
pretty
out.
excited for that.
Yeah, it'll come out on Friday the 13th.
Yes. Again, it's a bonus episode, so it won't be replacing the normal Monday releases. As always, if you would like to know more about it or just want to know when new episodes get released, plus taking part of polls, things of that nature, give us a follow on Twitter and Instagram at Wicked Hot Talk, as well as subscribing to us on iTunes, and as well as leaving 5-star reviews and or 5-star rating, because that helps us out immensely. Kevin, I think that does it for the patriotic episode.
Bye, everybody.